Hello everyone and welcome to the In-Home TOA Resistance Training Series. This is episode number 1. Workout we're going to take you through today is going to incorporate your band series set that you purchased from Perform Better. Heavy, medium, and light bands, including your door anchors. I have mine preset as a high and a medium. We'll also use a low in some of the workouts to come. During the transitions when you're doing the workout, simply open your door, slide your anchor down, and then close it back for me. However, for instruction, I'm just going to switch my set of bands. We're also going to utilize the mini bands that you got in your set, heavy, medium, light, and extra light. And we will need some chair for you to perform your sit-to-stand actions at. We'll need a little bit of space, I'd say at least 5 or 10 feet around your door anchors and your chair to give you some room to maneuver. And we're going to dive right into it. This instructed episode is intended for you to follow along. So please do as I go through all the reps and sets and exercise instruction with you. And when we conclude the first round, it's up to you then to perform either rounds 2, 3, and 4, but no more than 4 rounds. As we progress with each episode to making things a little bit harder, I'd rather you increase your resistance than the amount of rounds that you perform of each exercise. So no more than 4, but a minimum of 2 when we start off with this. All right, so our first exercise here is called a chest pull. We have 3 different chest pulls that we perform. The 2 that we're going to do today, and again, I'll let you pick your band of choice, but if we're starting fresh, let's start with the orange, your lightest band from your high anchor point. We are going to do a palm down or a pronated grip here to start us off. Pronated grips, palm down with a good triangle. You can see how wide I'm pulling my band apart. I'm going to split my feet. Chest up here nice and tall. And now my first action, if you're watching my shoulder blades here, my first action is to retract my shoulder blades back, squeeze my rhomboids, that's right in between my shoulders, then bring my elbows and then pull the band to my chest and apart. So I'm going to tilt here. As I row in, I'm making a bigger triangle, okay? So it's not just a straight back pull, it's straight back and separation. So palms down, we split our stance, nice and tall, retract, row to the chest and pull apart. Retract, pull to the chest and pull apart. We're going to do 10 of these, okay? Here we go. This is 3. Nice long reach, slow and steady. 4. One more, we're going to switch our feet now. Right foot back. Let's get 5 more. Notice my tempo. Slow, smooth, and steady. This is important with all of our band resistance exercises that we're going to implement. We never want to yank and heave and pull on these unless we're training for a power component, which we're not just there yet, okay? Now we're going to switch our grip. Same action, same row. We're just going to go palms up. Split your feet, chest up here nice and tall. Retract, pull, and separate. Retract, pull, separate. As you start getting more comfortable in performing this, you can make it a little bit more fluent. As you get your row action, really move those shoulder blades a lot. Switch feet as we're halfway. Lots of shoulder blade action. Retract and squeeze. Looking good. Nice light grip. You're holding on tight, but you're not crushing it, okay? Good, let's get one more and relax. Now we're going to go to a straight arm pull down. The same palms up grip we just had. We're just going to turn our knuckles and our fists straight ahead. Good hinge position. Hinge is a kind of a butt sticking out position with your chest up. My chin is neutral, which means I'm not looking down and I'm not yanking my head up. I'm just looking straight ahead. My gaze is just slightly down. And as I pull from my armpits, my arms are going to pull down straight, and I'm going to separate my band as I pull that band in straight into my belt line, okay? Down, pull apart, straight into my belt line. And you see my angle here. Down, separate, and I'm squeezing. Like if I had grapes in my armpits, I want to come down here and I want to crush them, squeeze them into my armpit and pull down. Now, one of the biggest mistakes we can make here is crunching and rounding over to the band. We want to stay tall. You want to look like Superman at the top of this as you pull down. Good squeeze into here. And with any of the band exercises, if something's a little bit too hard, just move up a little bit. And you'll notice, oh, drastically easier. And then the opposite, if I want it a little harder, last one. all the way back into the lap. Very nice. Okay, now we're gonna move into our sit to stands. So we're gonna grab the chair. Your chair height that you're gonna sit to should be at a height, I'd say parallel, which means nice and flat here, at the thigh, knee, and hip or level, or slightly above. What I don't want you to do is get stuck down in that squat, and then you're calling for help, okay? Your band choice here, I'm gonna go with green. Now, when we're taking bands on and off around the shoes, we have to preserve the life quality of your band. So we have to be really careful taking the bands on and off. Now, if you're at home, you're on a surface that isn't slippery, you're on your carpet or on a mat, you can do this barefoot, or at least with your socks on would be fine. But I prefer shoes on just to help you with your traction and your grip. And so with that in mind, as you put these guys on, and always do these seated so you don't take a tumble, be really careful taking your band in and off, just to make sure it doesn't catch on the rubber, and then we end up tearing up your bands and costing you having to buy a new set. Band always goes just above the knees, and as you get stronger, more efficient with this, instead of doing more repetitions, we're gonna add an increased resistance. So let's say you're starting with your yellow one today, and you feel like, okay, that's pretty easy, then we can progress up to the green and so on. The cues for this, our feet are shoulder width apart, if not just a tiny bit wider. And then my toes, if they're straight ahead, we're gonna call that 0. I wanna turn my toes out about 15 degrees or maybe 1.5 inches out, okay? Now with that, if the band, if I relax and let the band win, it's pulling me into what's called a valgus collapse. I'm going to resist and push this apart. I'm gonna sit up here nice and tall, arms are out in front of me, and when I'm ready to go, I'm gonna push my heels down into the floor, my chest up, and my butt's actually gonna go back, okay? So we call this a triangle. Down, back, up, okay? Push down, drive your head and chest up, and your butt just kind of sticks out, especially on the way down here, sticks out as you come back to the chair. Keep pushing out here with the band, keep it tight, drive your heels, stand up nice and tall, come back down, gentle, sit back onto the box, don't fall onto it. We wanna come down under control, smooth and steady. Yeah, like that chair is made out of glass. We don't want to break it, okay? Smooth, steady. Now, a couple of fatigue signs that you're going to look for. Number one, the band is going to start to win and bow your knees in. We want to keep an eye on that. Number two, you're going to start rocking. Rock forward, rock back to create momentum coming up. That's a cheat, okay? Don't want to do that. And then the last one, you're going to push your hands on your thighs to help you come up. Also another cheat. Going to give you a little indicator of maybe we're just not in the best of shape just yet to do this at this depth. So maybe make the chair a little bit higher, and we can do that by adding folded towels, a pillow. If you have any Aerodyne pads, little Airex pads, you can put those in there. Anything that's going to help you elevate, or just switch chairs if you have a stool, something like that. The other thing is the band might be just a little bit too tight, and we got to loosen it up, okay? So we got 10 of those bad boys. Now we're gonna go to a gait step. Our gait step is gonna be guided by our middle range band. So, open the door, slide your anchor point down, close it, and then we're ready to go. I'm looking anywhere between my sternum height and my belly button as my point of contact for this band to help me out and to start off for an anchor. So for this one, let's go with our black band, the middle band, give us a little more resistance. And all we're gonna do here is grab on with a palms up grip. I'm gonna engage the band, meaning I'm pulling back on it. And I wanna have a good amount of resistance on it where it's gonna help support me a little bit while I do a reverse step. Gait step is a little different from a lunge. With a lunge, I would have a full step all the way out and down, almost touch my knee to the floor, and I'd switch. A gait step, I step out, I switch my feet, and I'll return. This is a forward gait step. So I'm going a little further than my normal walking step by about 1 foot, but that's it. I just want to practice stepping further than I normally do so I can work on my balance and my coordination and my fall prevention techniques, okay? So palms are up, retract and pull back, and this band should touch your belly button, okay? It's right against you. Let's start with our right leg. I'm gonna reach my foot back, shift my weight onto it, and return. left foot, reach and shift, return. Right foot, left foot. Good, and we're gonna keep alternating, and the whole time you're pulling back on your band. Your arms are just locked in place here. I'm keeping my chest tall. I'm keeping my shoulder blades pulling back together. And I'm just gonna work on this gait distance. If I can step a little further, I will. And you might feel in the beginning, it's a little bit easy. That's okay. We're using this band as a support system. What's important for us right now is we're practicing what it's like to get our feet wide and apart and away from each other, that we haven't really done a whole lot of that in our daily life. Because eventually, we're gonna get to split stance exercises like a gate step lunge, a lateral lunge, and so on. So 10 of these on each side. We're wrapping up here. Last one on the right. Last one on the left. Very nice. Okay, last exercise is a glute bridge. Now, if you at home, you're not comfortable or capable of getting up and down off the floor yet, you don't have somebody there with you, and you don't want to risk it, don't worry about it right now. What I'd like you to do is do all your exercises again for a next round of 2, 3, or 4 total rounds. And then at the very end, when you're completely done, head to the bedroom, lay onto your bed, and we can do your 3 or 4 or how many rounds you did, that many sets of 20 glute bridges. If you're comfortable attempting that right now, let's pop on the ground, we'll do it. And I'll show you this, I'll take you through all the steps. But again, safety first. I don't want you to get to the floor and get stuck or get down there and end up, getting into a position where you're not comfortable or really capable of being down here just yet. We'll work on that as the episodes in the series continue, okay? So let's pop down onto the floor here. Practicing good techniques. I'm gonna split my feet. I'm gonna go down to one knee. My hand is right next to the chair if I need it, or a couch, ottoman, whatever you have. I'm gonna bring one of my bands with me. Light or medium light will be good. Okay, so I have my hand here for support. I'm gonna put both my hands onto the floor, and I'm gonna bring my other knee down. And now I'm on the floor wherever I need to go from here. We are gonna pivot back onto your back. Get both of your feet here out in front of you. And traditional glute bridge is gonna look like so. Feet are shoulder width apart, toes are up. I'm gonna take my shoulder blades and pull them together, and I'm gonna pull my elbows down into the floor. My head's gonna rest on the floor, keeping my shoulder blades in tight. I have 5 points of contact, okay? Both arms, my shoulder blades, both feet, and my butt, okay? And then my head on the other end here. The head is optional. You can lift your head up if you want to, but it puts a little bit of strain on your neck. So I'm good with you keeping shoulder blades, arms, feet, butt, head. Keeping the contact here as we're ready to lift. We're gonna lift as one. That is our cue. Hips all the way to the shoulders. Lift as one piece all the way up, nice and high, and return back to your 5 points of contact. Up to 4 points, down to 5 points. Squeeze, lift your butt nice and high, and return. We're gonna do 20 of these, so go ahead and let's get rolling. And a couple things to think about. Keep lifting your toes up. Make sure they're pulling up nice and high. This keeps the front side of your legs, your anterior, your tibialis, and your quads engaged, so your knee stays tight and active. Your ankle stays tight and active. You wanna make sure your bridge is getting high enough to where your knees, your hips, and your shoulders are all in one nice straight line. And you want to make sure you're pulling your butt up as opposed to pushing with your legs that result in you going up. And the way you're going to know the difference is if you start sliding across the floor that way. Basically, you're trying to stand up while laying down on your back. Your shirt's going to get pulled up into your throat. You're going to feel your head rubbing across the floor. You want to pull your heels towards you and lift your butt at the same time, and you're really gonna feel your hamstrings. Ouch! They'll kind of bite a little bit in the beginning, and that's gonna let you know, I got my glutes and my hamstrings doing all the work for me. That's a good bridge, okay? We're gonna roll onto our side, push up to both of our hands, take my knee that's on the floor side with me, replace it where my butt is, and then come up into my split stance or my lunge position to stand up. You need the chair. You can bring that over to help you get up and down. Now I brought my band down with me. In the next episode, we're gonna do those same bridges, but we're gonna add this band around our knees for a little bit of abduction. So I like to practice bringing the bands with you so you don't get down there and then go, oh, I forgot my band, and you have to go back and get it. So this is round 1, episode 1, our series of exercises. We had all of our high point rows, our reverse steps, our sit to stands, and our bridges, our gate steps as well. Very good exercises to practice. All of these are relating back to life movements, which is most important for us to practice as we age. Good functional training components with great progressive resistance or band components here for you to find comfort in the range of motion that you're working with, okay? You want it harder, back up a little, easier, come forward. You're the boss when it comes to this, but continue to challenge yourself. We'll see you in episode 2. Thank you for joining us here on Training the Older Adult.